I've always wanted to do Strictly. You know, I loved watching Paul doing it and he loved his time on it. But what I hadn't realised is the whole camaraderie behind the scenes and what a happy show it is to work on.
Yeah.
And the fact that, you know, you feel like a princess. They do your makeup, your hair, someone's doing your nails while someone's doing your makeup, all those wonderful costumes. And everybody is lovely that works on the show.
I mean, it's hard work, though, and there's not as much rehearsal time as you would think.
No, this week we've only rehearsed every afternoon because every morning we've had other filming things to do, like I'm
For
here
the show.
today,
and
other things for the show. So, so it's been a shorter time this week.
So what happens with, because you're doing the waltz, the Viennese waltz on Saturday, so what are the pitfalls of the waltz?
There's a lot. The technique, I think, is much tougher than a paso doble, because in a paso doble you can get away with a few things not working. The Viennese waltz is much more controlled, and you've got to keep your knees bent and be really smooth. You know, you can't... It's a bit like, you know, in the old days, in magazines, you'd see learning to be a model and you walk with a book on your head. Well, it's a bit like that, except your knees have got to be bent and your feet have to glide across the floor. And because I had ballet training over 30 years ago, it's so opposite to anything I've ever done. And all my life, you know, I've walked upright, pull your tummy and shoulders back. This is get down on your knees.
Well, there was a bit of criticism, wasn't there, about the ballet training?
Yeah.
The fact, oh, well, she's done it before.
Well, the thing is, it's so different to ballroom and Latin, and I've never done anything like this. I danced over 30 years ago, and I would describe it a bit like if you asked a footballer to go and do, you know, something else 30 years later. It's a completely different muscle learning process.
Footballer to play tennis 30 years later.
Yeah, when you're older, you know. And so it's a completely different muscle thing. So any muscles that stayed a bit trained from 30 years ago, I've now got to untrain that. And that's what's hard.
And he seems like a great teacher. I mean, he's sort of met his match with you, I imagine.
I think he has, yeah. I mean, people did sort of advise me that he was very in control, and I think he's realised that, well, actually, I am sometimes.
I think we all realise that.
And this week in the Viennese waltz, he has to lead, and I've struggled with that. But yesterday, by the time I left him last night, he was quite happy that I was allowing him to lead. So I just hope I can continue with that on Saturday.
Well, I am a firm believer that age is an irrelevance, but you are the oldest person on this particular series. But you looked the bendiest. You looked amongst the fittest.
Yeah, you really do.
So what's your regime? Do you work out?
Yeah, I've never been obsessed with exercise. I've never been a person that had to do it every day, but I've always done something. So maybe 3 times a week I've either done Pilates or yoga all my life. So I've never, ever let it go, except for odd times, like when Paul chopped his finger off and I had a couple of months just nursing him at home. I couldn't do anything and I was so worried about him. Then I lost the tone in my body, and sometimes being on tour was hard. But through those moments of lapses, I've always done something, but I've not gone mad. So lots of my friends who have done a lot of, you know, power running and stuff like that, I've now all had hip replacements or knee replacements. Well, luckily, so far, I seem to be OK. And I haven't had many aches and pains from Strictly either.
What would Paul think?
Oh, he would love it. He would just love it. And the fact that I caused, or seemed to, it appears to have caused this furore with the kiss on Saturday night. He just loved show business, and that was real showbiz. So I know he would be looking down on me thinking, OK, yeah, he'd be happy.